Is it winter time and your fishies are getting cold on your aquaponics system? Maybe you need to set them up with a solar heater. Keep them nice and warm, keep your fish healthy, happy, and yeah, eating well. So let's see how to build this, hey? So what is it that we need to be able to build a solar heater for our aquaponics system? We need a solar pump. Now, before you go out and start buying your solar pump, make sure you check out my other videos on pumps, because you need to make sure that you've got the right head height. That's the right head height for the pump. Now what that means, head height actually refers to how far, or generally it's how high, the water needs to be pumped up from that pump up into your grow bed or wherever you're going to have it going. In this case though, we're going to be having the water pumping around some irrigation piping. So however long you're going to use that piping for is what the length of your head height for the pump needs to be. The sun's just turned on that water pump. Let's turn that around to stop that happening. So for instance, if I want this pump to be able to pump water around all of this irrigation piping, I think I measured it at nearly 3 meters, that means I need to have a head height of 3 meters. So do check that information out, because if you don't have it strong enough, it won't be able to push the water through. You need some type of black drum. Now, I happen to have a nice little black drum that I'm going to use, but you can use a 20-litre pail and paint it black. Seriously, you don't have to spend a lot of money doing this. This is 13mm irrigation piping. Super cheap. In fact, this is all recycled. And I am just literally going to be wrapping it around. You want the water to come from the fish tank, being pumped around this hosing and around here, and then dropping back into the fish tank. That's the concept of it. And what happens is these pipes, or this pipe will be wrapped around the black drum and sitting in the sun. So when the sun comes out, your water is going to get nice and warm. Now, if you live in an area where it's super cloudy over your winter period, this isn't going to work. So save your time, it ain't going to work if you've got lots of clouds happening. But if you live in an area where it's quite sunny during the day, but still cold at night, this will work perfectly. So I say let's get into the building of it, hey? Check out the description to find some more information about aquaponics and how you can move forward and get this happening. If you have time, it's really good to kind of try to mold the irrigation piping, because the minute I start to hook this up or tape this up, it's going to want to buckle and bend out and not do the right thing. And I'm also going to let it sit there. So this is where duct tape can come in handy. Duct tape, zip ties, and aquarium grade silicone, wonderful things. All right, I want to hold this first one just in place. Okay, so you can see it's where the end is. I just want it to be able to sit there and not move. And if I don't tape it, it's going to come off and move. And then we are going to tighten the pipe around. Black attracts heat, so we have this out in the sun. This piping will get nice and warm, especially with the water in it. And that is our solar heater. Alright. Now, as I said, ideally, that would be really good to let that sit and mould for a little bit. I don't really have all day right now though, so I'm going to use another piece of duct tape. Alright. This will mould itself, especially when it's sitting out in the sun, and it'll end up staying there. But for the moment, because it's cold and rigid, it's sticking out kind of everywhere, isn't it? So what we'll be doing is, this is the duct tape really is only a temporary thing to hold it in place, because a little bit of OCD coming in. I'm not wanting to have the duct tape on that over those pipes. If you're wanting to keep it there and it's not going to hold it in place, some liquid nails works, but I tend to use duct tape to test something first to make sure it's the right height, the right shape, the right size, the right moulding, and then I can use the liquid nails. Alright, that is the foundation. Now, I have 2 more pieces. And I can't tell you exactly how much piping to use because it'll depend on the type of container that you're using. But remember, the more the hose is wrapping around whatever container you're using, the higher your head height will be for your pump, which means the more expensive your pump will be. So just keep that in mind. If you have a very powerful solar pump, awesome, go you. You could have a lot more of the piping going through, which means more of the water will get warmed up. But if you don't want to be spending a lot of money on your solar pump, then just keep that in mind. Now, because I have these very rigid pipes, I have 1 meter piping here, 2 of them. I'm just going to attach it here with more irrigation piping and some 90-degree bends. 1 on each of those. 1 will be connected up to the pump, and 1 will be connected and flowing straight back into the fish tank. So now we basically connect the pipes. Alright, now where is my water pump? Aha. So, connected to the solar panel. And it doesn't matter top or bottom, doesn't matter at all. Just make sure that you know which one's going where. We have that irrigation piping, which, you know, probably should be a little bit smaller. Just literally connects onto your water pump. And now we will put that together, set that on the aquaponics system, and when the sun comes out, I'll record showing you how it works. Rightio, so the demonstration is we've got the water being pumped up into the black pipe here. It's winding all the way around the drum, and I've got it then dropping out into this with this pipe. And of course the sun goes and we have the solar panel and the sun fades out. But that's pretty much what's happening. Now, by wrapping the cord or the pipe around the bottom, what that does is that then means that the top one can end up being gravity fed back into the fish tank, which is absolutely fantastic. And it works incredibly well when the sun is actually out hitting it. Here we go, maybe we'll... And that's the thing, without the sun, your solar panel is going to work. And you need to check your solar panel to make sure if there's any shade on it, then they won't work as well. Now we can see the vibration of the pipe every time it moves. And we have water dripping through, which is pretty cool. And by pushing it under there and keeping that there, what's going to happen is all day that's going to be full sun, and it's going to warm up the water, therefore making it a little bit warmer, just especially during the night. It will obviously get cold again, you know, small little system out in the open, but for the time being, solar heater. There you go. Super simple and super cheap.